What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show here. Another Thursday coming to you, Heads Up Advisor, John Sbrocco. Today, I've been doing monthly webinars for a lot of you out there. We've had several hundred people attend these webinars. And what I wanted to do was cover it on the show today for those that are listening live, weekly, listening on the podcast, and maybe haven't caught it yet. I wanted to just take a deeper dive with it. Craig is out today. He's in travel, but we're going to bring another one to you and going to educate you a little bit on not only Virtue Health, which obviously is our show sponsor and our program we talk about, work with a lot of yous out there, but just traditional stop loss, okay? The traditional stop loss market versus group purchasing and why it fails small to mid-sized businesses repeatedly, and it's undershoring your clients and prospects, okay? So we're going to cover it today. Let's begin. If you're watching, let us know where you're watching in from in the chat. Okay, so why are we here today, right? So, my account told me, look, there's two types of tax systems. There's one for the informed and one for the uninformed. Okay, that goes for self-funding as well. Okay, how to insure the risk to take your group self-funded. Unfortunately, like myself, many of yous out there, I started in the beginning selling traditional stop loss, chasing rates for the small group or small to mid-sized marketplace, thinking that was the way to do it traditionally, like we do fully insured, right? And so, look, most brokers are good people out there, but we are amateur underwriters. We don't understand underwriting. We don't really understand how it works because the most successful brokers really are better at selling and marketing. Okay. And so traditional stop loss we're going to cover today. And it is a short-term solution for a long-term strategy. It's what I want you to think about today is I am selling my client on this long-term strategy, and yet I'm providing them insurance, the insurance layer, only a short-term solution. And that doesn't work in the long run. You're trying to sell them on a strategy that is going to save them money over time. But yet they may have to jump in and out because things don't go well because traditional stop loss is a 12-month play. Okay. And so it's extremely unpredictable. And we're going to cover that today. So those that don't know me, hopefully most of you know me on the show here. Just a picture of me here in the basement, telemarketing, some case client delivering checks many years back from, this is 4 or 5 years ago. So this case would have been 6, 7 years ago. Just saving, having a great client, doing what we asked for, and able to have excellent results. And they've been in a program, I'm going to say 7 years now. Okay. And this is a 55 life group. It can be done if you provide the right solutions, the right insurance component for the client. Some of the organizations I've been part of, CFO Solutions, CFO University. I've won Rising Star way back in 2018 or 19. Just a little bit about me. But let's cover risk financing, right? Because that's what we're talking about today. We're not necessarily talking about the risk management side, although we'll cover some of it. Okay. Financing. Let's look at, the old world, fully insured. You take 5 carriers. You go to your general agent. Hey, give me the 5 carriers. Put it on a spreadsheet. Beat them up back and forth. Blah blah blah. Right. Old way of doing it. Traditional stop loss. Okay. Traditional stop loss is about chasing the base rate in the market and avoiding the next 12 months of unknown risk, right? Up front, there's going to be a laser. It's known risk. Unknown risk for the next 12 months. Very vanilla contract that really offers no features or long-term benefit. The question is always, and why we created the program, what happens at renewal to you as an advisor who's putting yourself at risk for putting them in a self-funded program, because it's riskier, guys. It's more work. It's more risk. And I've been on the side of an advisor. I don't want to lose accounts because I sell them a product that doesn't last. I've done it. I've gotten fired for it. I've lost employees over it. Okay. Doesn't work well at all for small to mid-sized businesses. 350 plus, 450, 400 plus works a lot better. You can go chase your rates, so on and so forth. Okay. Third pool, right? Public pools. Public, keyword, public. We're talking about the captives, consortiums, kind of like the Costco model. You pay your membership, anybody can get in. Post your collateral, anybody can get in. There's no risk management requirements, right? No cost containment solutions required. They maybe encourage it, but the reality is you don't have to. We could take the whole state of Alabama, 93% market share, dump them all into our pool with crappy PBMs and carrier administrators, okay, which are just claim processors, right? They just adjudicate claims, and they're in the pool, okay? And look, it stabilizes out the risk. Yes, it does that. It is a better solution than the short-term stop-loss world. However, the increases become significant, and we're going to be talking about that more as we go. And then you got the private consortiums, the private pools, where there is parameters to get into these programs. That's what we're going to talk about a lot today with Virtue Health. So let's step back for a second. Look at the small to mid-sized group problem. My great friend, world-class actuary Hobson Carroll taught me, many years back, and just said, John, you're an amateur underwriter, okay? All you brokers think that, hey, I had a good years. I had good 3 years. Why should I get an increase? Okay, I shouldn't get an increase. Well, we'll talk about the factors of increase. I mean, let alone trend, which is, just the cost of healthcare going up, and then leverage trend, which doubles the claim. But let's look at it from a standpoint of claims distribution. So when we look at it from a large group standpoint, you're underwriting regression to the mean, right? Expected, very predictable. Okay. So underwriters can underwrite a large group. And, if they get it wrong a little bit, it's not going to be by much, right? It's very predictable and stable. Let's look at small group. Well, geez, this is what small groups distribution looks like. It's all over the place. 40% may come in at 50% as expected, another 30 at 100%, and, another 20, 30, maybe up to 250, 350, 400% loss ratios. I had ones in the group up to 650% loss ratio. The challenge is we don't know who it's going to be and we don't know when, because, guys, I don't care if you have 3 good years. It's irrelevant. One claim next year can have you at a 600%, 300% loss ratio. Again, we don't know who, we don't know when. So it's very volatile. You're not credible. You are uncredible. Okay. Unpredictable. I'm sorry. Now, that's what you have to understand. And you think rate shopping every year using, I don't know, stop loss aggregators, what's going to happen in the bad years, right? Yes, it will work for you in your good years. Okay. But what happens in the bad years? So let's look at the top conditions that, I always say winter is coming. The claims are coming. Somebody tell me the other day, John, we don't get cancer claims. Give me a break. I'm seeing them at an astronomical rate that I haven't seen years before. Okay. And the hospital systems are figuring out ways to charge more for those claims. So let's look at the top 10%, top 10 conditions. Sun Life report here, 86% likelihood of a stop loss claim. Cancer, 53%. Boom. There you go. It's mostly going to be cancers, and they're usually long-term claims, right? We got end-stage renal disease, premature babies with secondary conditions that have been in, the hospital system. I've had one over 2 years, okay, in the system. Now, we were able to get them off to a foundational approach, which is something else we were able to do. But those are things that are going to last a long time. So this is just an overview of the claims that are going to hit stop loss. I don't care about doctor visits or, John, I'm going to, I got brokers that say, John, I'm going to put DPC in. Well, what claims do DPC evacuate? They don't evacuate high dollar risk, right? They're not going to stop cancer. They're not going to stop knee surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, because those people are athletes and beat their bones up for 30 years. The doctor's not going to fix that, okay? So these are claims. We're talking about large claimants. My mentor was Tom Emmerich. He taught me a long time ago, manage the high dollar claims, right? 7 to 10% of members drive 80% of claims for his time at Walmart. Let's talk about pitfalls of stop loss, traditional stop loss insurance for a second, okay? Covering one policy, years of claims. How's it underwritten, guys? Well, they're in a business to make money, so they're going to go and look at it and go, can I make money on this group over the next 12 months? Here's what it's going to cost to insure the group and us to make money. That's how they're underwriting the policy. They're not signing up to lose money on traditional stop loss. No, they're not doing that. That's a lose-lose. Insurance companies don't lose money, okay? And so you've got to understand that that's how they're going to look at the policy for the next 12 months. And they can't say, I'm going to pool it with the rest of the whole program. They don't know who's going to renew, who's not. And the attrition rate on traditional stop loss is 25, 30+% every year. So they don't know. It's a short-term policy for 12 months. And it's one policy year risk, and it's very bumpy. It's like the stock market, okay? In the stock market, the public investors lose money because they sell when the market's down, okay? And they buy when it's high. Long-term investors hold, okay? They make money. Pitfalls. Let's see what else it's got here. Here's some of them. It's a bumpy ride, like I just said. Lasers at renewal. Okay, how do you take on a laser when you're 50 lives and the lasers for cancer? Let's say it's $150,000 potential claim. Got to build in expenses to that. It's another $30,000, $40,000. Okay, so I've now got to charge you $185,000 in premium, and I'm going to go conservative because that's how underwriters are. I'm going to set it at $200,000. How does a 55 live group take $200,000 more in exposure the next year? They're not going to want to. Okay. And if they do and it hits, guess who's getting fired? If they don't, they're going to go fully insured. Right. Or, hey, there's all this maximum exposure risk. Shit, I better take the call from those brokers that keep calling me. And then you're competing with other brokers and could potentially get fired. Right. Because, hey, John, you sold me this self-funding thing and you said I'm going to save money over the next 5 years. Well, this is the first year. And look at this. What are we going to do? We go back fully insured, which I got fully insured quotes. Okay. Get yourself in trouble, get yourself fired. You are underinsuring your clients and putting them at risk and your job at risk. Okay. Rate caps. Look, you're going to see this on some of the things. You're going to see rate caps. I've seen them 99%, 50%, 75%. They're going to wallop you as much as they can in those years. I've had ones that said we'll do group purchasing, $500,000 premium. Year one, we got a $250,000 claimant. They build the whole claim in and plus expensive, and I get a 56% increase of stop loss premiums. Not feasible, not the way it should be done. And that's what's going to happen again because, hey, John, I got to build in the claim. Well, what about pooling it? Well, we're not going to pool it. That's not how it's done. And so it's kind of like pixie dust. They don't have to renew your policy, right? So be careful. Can they renew it? Can they exclude people? Read your policy, okay? And, I think in the bad years, you're thinking, well, John, I got 50 carriers who will quote me. That may work in the good years, but good luck in the bad years because stop loss writes unknown risk. They do not write known risk, which would be a laser, okay? Let's look at some of the 1-year policy risk where traditional stop loss works for it, right? Heart attacks, right, might last anywhere from a month to 6 months in claims. You got surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, works really great for that. Emergencies type stuff, strokes, hepatitis C. But the reality is what happens in the longer term claimants? What happens when a heart attack is done in the last quarter of that policy year? Because remember, in the last quarter, you have the claim. Insurance carrier, 1-year traditional stop loss MGU can go, we're putting a laser on them. Okay. We're putting a laser on that guy. And I'm not even going to pay for the heart attack claims after the first 60 days because we got the policy renewal. Guess what? Who's in a tough position? You are. Multi-year threats. This is where you get walloped. This is what the long-term insurance covers you for. Okay. The long-term strategy. You have multi-year threats. Number one, cancer. We've got our partner on the show here who, we got a good friend that's wife's had cancer for almost 2 years, 3 different occasions in 2 years. These things are lasting, and we're at 1.5 million plus in claims. So let's shine a light on this current marketplace. The claims are getting larger and they're lasting longer. Surprise, surprise. You think the hospital systems haven't figured out or hired advisors on their side to extend them? If you ask insurance carriers, what scares the hell out of them? Pharmacy, gene therapy, orphan drugs, specialty, multi-million-dollar claims. Affordable Care Act, no limits. So, I've seen $7 million claims, $5 million claims. They can happen. And, when you have a live born baby, like I talked about, with complications, One kid, unfortunately, rest in peace, just actually passed away 60 days ago. He was 2.5 years in the hospital system. I don't even know how much it had to been 5 million plus in claims. Year one, it was like 2.5, 3 million. Okay. End-stage renal disease, right? I think you get about 36 months till you get onto Medicare, 36 months. They're going to be in a plan. Okay. That's, I would say $40,000 a month. Okay. What happens at renewal? Laser. MS, AIDS, ongoing claims, they don't end. Okay. And, big threat is hospital provider consolidation. What does consolidation bring? Higher prices, very simply. All the consequences of the above here. So we talked about frequency and severity. What's going on in the market, guys? What is this threat? Take a look at this. Members with $1 million in paid claims, okay? In 2017, 194. In 2020, it's 255. Do you see the increase of roughly 25% increase over the last few years? This is an older report, year old or 2 years old, and you see the increase in the number of $1 million claims. Then look at the frequency, look at the severity, right? Even more dramatic. So not only is the number of claimants going up, but the cost. Okay, that's has a lot to do with hospital and provider consolidation. Okay, increased cost of the claims, high lasers you're going to see, and what's it going to cost you? You don't know. So to look at what it costs, here's what some of the average claims: cancer, $188,000. So, i.e., example, $188,000. Add 25% expense load to the stop loss premiums to that, and you can do the math. Call it $230,000 laser, okay, on an average cancer for the following year. High cost, 3.4. You see them all here. End-stage renal disease. I mean, you look at the outliers. The average is 188, but they're going to be conservative, right? Because they see what other things are happening. Transplant. I know some of you, I got a transplant policy. Does a transplant policy cover past a year? Does it cover the meds? Because the surgery is only one portion of it. So take a look at that to see what really happens on your transplant policy. I see some people raving that their cost containment is transplant policy. That's comical to me, because we know one in 10,000, roughly 1 in 10,000 or 8,000 life years is a transplant. So, yeah, it's not really a cost containment solution. Does it make sense? Sometimes if you can get the decrement and premium and the policy is written correctly. Okay. So what we're here about today is, I've shown you the risk for small to mid-sized business, right? Real question you have to ask yourself as an advisor is, am I underinsuring my client? What am I at risk for? What are they at risk for? Will the policy I sold my client protect them? What's on the horizon? What happens in the bad years? Because everybody can go, John, rates. Yeah, I could be competitive in year one. Okay. Am I going to beat the lowest MGU out? Never, because sometimes they buy business. I see it. There's 50 plus of them. Use an aggregator. You'll see what I'm talking about. But the question becomes, what happens in the bad years? And that's where you're at risk. That's where your client's at risk. This is what it reminds me of short-term insurance. If any of you are in the crypto market, this is a little old now. This is 2 months old. That red candlestick went down a lot more. And so it goes up really fast, comes down really, really hard. Okay. And should I buy here? Should I sell here? Short-term investors lose money. So if you're buying short-term insurance, you're going to lose money over the long term. You have to buy a long-term product, because what happens, guys, when the red hits and it starts going down, those short-term investors sells. They panic when things go down. Emotion comes in, right? At renewal, got a $250,000 laser. What do I do? Inexperience kicks in. Bottom falls out. Let's go back fully insured. Okay. And they lose money. Long-term investors, big money investors, have a longer-term strategy, and they have more experience, and they make money, right? So what does group buying do for you? Okay. Well, when we go self-funded, we need to be part of a group purchasing program, right, where we're getting a heavy pooling factor, because you need to become a predictable pool of risk, like we talked about in the large group space. This is how fully insured is able to sign up to lose money on cases, because They underwrite on the total program. Now, it's a little more complex than that because they make money everywhere on the PBM and so on and so forth. They get more members, they get a higher rebate, so they can make more money everywhere. But the goal is to reduce the volatility in the bad years, okay, and claims that stop loss doesn't cover. So when you do group purchasing, you raise the number of lives, you become a lot more predictable. You get more purchasing power on the total cost of the program. You're going to share the risk of these large claims. Negotiating ability, collaboration, okay, lower overhead carrier profits here because they don't have to make money on that specific group. It's on the pool. I could lose money on a group. I could sign up to lose money, but as long as the total program makes money, I win. Okay. Now, you're thinking, John, I know about group purchasing programs, the public pools, and I've been using them a long time. Well, here's where they missed the mark, and we talked about it earlier. All that matters is the 80 to 90 cents of every dollar is directly or indirectly related to claims. You got claims, you got stop loss. Well, stop loss is indirectly related to the claims. Okay. The 10% is admin, broker comp, so on and so forth. So if you're going to control the stop loss premiums, well, the reality is you better control the high dollar claims and even the aggregate. Okay. But mainly the high dollar claims. So if you're not controlling the high dollar claims, what happens to the pool? Okay. It goes bad. That's why you see a lot of the captives, the consortium out there. They open a new sell up all the time because it runs like crap for 4 years. Let's open up a new one. Yeah, we opened up a new one. Okay. They can't contain the cost because they're not using the right solutions in place. So what happens? You see the market dishes out 15% to 19%. They're telling you expect 15%, or I think it's 14%. You should expect a 14% premium rate increase every year on your good years. Okay. How is that sustainable? So let's look at the public pool. Let's look at the problems with these guys. Okay. They aggregate the premium to provide more stability, but we still see the increases there. This is what happened to me when we started to create the program and in programs that I was in, right? You got a heavy pooling factor due to size, but then you get a block increase, and they're already telling you to expect 14%. But if the block runs bad, they now underwrite the block and they go, it's 19. I've been in them. It's 19%, John, in a good year. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care how good your loss ratio is. It's 19%. The block needs an increase. Well, when you have Blue Cross and the big three PBMs and all these guys in there that are stealing money out of the claims, well, the cost of insurance is going to be more. Okay. And so the cost of your, cost of claims are going to be more. So the cost of the stop loss insurance is going to be more. They're looking through the wrong end of the telescope, guys. You got to look through the right end. And, it's pretty wild out there what I see, but there's bad contract language. They shadow price. I mean, their idea is let's shadow price the fully insured over and we'll subsidize it and stabilize it over 3 years. While that may be good for that group, okay, the reality is you're subsidizing with the rest of the risk. So is that fair to the groups in the program? I don't think it is. And so that's why we don't underwrite that way. Okay. What would a perfect pool look like? Well, Virtue Health, long-term solution for the long-term strategy, right? We're sharing in the risk. We're lowering the volatility. We've got purchasing power. We're reducing costs and increasing benefits at the same time by using risk management strategies. Okay. The most efficient way to finance risk is fully insured. Okay. You guys are thinking, what? Fully insured? Really? It's the best way to insure the risk. Now, fully insured carriers have gone corrupt and drive up the claims. But the insurance layer is the most effective way. And that's what you're trying to create here in a group purchasing program, right? So let's take a look at what Virtue Health's private program. It's a gated community. Okay. What would ideal perfect pool look like? Well, there's risk management requirements. You can't have carrier run administrators that adjudicate claims. I had a 12,000 life group I just talked to. Okay. And they said, well, I told them about adjudication rates with, Aetna. And they said they called up Aetna, and Aetna said, well, we're at 88%, but we're trying auto adjudication, but we're trying to get it up higher. They completely missed it, right? It's like scared the hell out of them. They're claims processors. They're not claims managers. Guys, you got to understand, even some of the administrators in the market have been forced to compete with the buka with a low admin. So let's just process claims. We're not going to manage them. We're just going to process and adjudicate, okay? Because Can't collect and we can't compete. The TPA typically is making money on the admin only. Okay. Carrier PBMs. If you're listening and you don't understand that the top three are corrupt and how they steal money for your clients, you better start doing some education before you self-funding. Okay. No misaligned partners stealing money out of the programs. No hidden fees or anything like that where it's negative for the employer, okay, or us, okay. Underwriting, we utilize some AI underwriting. We use another tool where we're able to get claims data, pharmacy data on those members, okay. There's also contract language in there. So if you're putting risk management solutions in place, you better have contract language that covers claims, okay, if it falls into those risk management strategies. Best example would be pharmacy. I've seen the big carrier players out there say, yeah, we're not covering the claims with that bolt on. Sorry, it's not happening. Okay. Be careful. We have it built in for out the gate. And it's built by advisors for advisors, guys. Right. We built it, me and a few other advisors. We use it on our clients. I still use it on my clients today. This is what a premier policy features look like. We've got the no new lasers, okay, with rate caps, banded rate increases, all the bells and whistles you want to protect that layer of insurance. You can have a laser contract. You could take a laser at renewal if you want it. Okay, we could show you that. We can offer you a foundational fund where the foundation funds high claimants to lower the cost. There's many different things that we can do to help get the cost down. We're not just an insurance policy. You have the risk management requirements, turnkey cost containment language. We have gapless contracts, no collaterals needed, no cash calls. This is not an employer captive. Okay. Unfortunately, you see a lot of the employer captives out there tout that you're going to get money back from the captive layer, and it's just not the case. Just ask brokers that have used it. And so my question when we built it was, well, if they're not going to get money back, then why should I ask my client to take more risk? Why should I put myself at more risk and make the sale harder than it is? So we went with a consortium, an employer-based consortium. There's no risk. There's no dividend. We're trying to get you competitive premiums with optimal protection. Obviously, we've got A-rated stop-loss carriers. Those out there that are using carriers with no rating, good luck to you if things don't go right. Good luck to you because your E&O insurance isn't going to cover it. I see some people touting direct carriers and this and that. Again, you're putting yourself at more risk as well as your clients. Make sure your E&O covers it. And last but not least here, the numbers that really matter, guys. It's actually very simple. Loss ratios, right? You have a pooled program where you're providing insurance. Now, I can say I've got all these members and I'm this big and I'm 500,000 members and 200 million in premium. You sound like fully, you know who does that? The fully insured carriers talk about that, right? You want big insured, go to the individual market. How's that running? Okay. We have adequate size that provides stability in the program. We are not trying to be a 300,000 life consortium. It's not going to happen because of our risk management requirements. Not everybody's going to buy into it. But what matters is the loss ratio, okay? So when you have a pool, and let's just say there's $12 million in premium, you pay out $2 million in expenses, you got $10 million over, okay? Well, if you're paying out a loss ratio that's over 100%, you're losing money. If you're paying it in the 90s, which most target for, well, with leverage trend, you're going to need to increase the block. The block increased the following year. We talked about earlier that 19% increase. Well, you got leverage trend. The program's not running well. We're not managing risk. The claims costs are going up. The size of the claims are going up. I need an increase, and I got to spread it. So when you're in good years, you're still getting a massive increase. That's not what we do. Our loss ratio since inception over the 4 or 5 years we've had it is 49% net risk premium after expenses, okay? What does that mean? That means we're making money, the carrier's making money, which means come renewal time, I don't have to dish you a massive block increase. Our target is 5 to 6% on stop loss premiums. My competitors are triple that, okay, on good years. Now, in bad years, obviously, it's going to be more money, but we're going to subsidize the majority over the pool, and that's easier to do and keep the good years good because of the loss ratios and managing high dollar risk. Remember, manage high dollar risk, you can control the stop loss premiums. It's the only way to do it. Some of the employers here who endorse us, we've got employers from every industry, almost all the states. It really is a relevant industry because the reality is they have the same cancers, same knee surgeries. It doesn't matter. But if you need references for your clients, we have them if need be. You can check out the website. You'll see case study after case study. I'll be releasing one probably once a month from some of the brokers that have had excellent results in the program. So, that's it, guys. You got a choice here. You could still sell traditional stop loss public pools or take a look at a private pool. Insure your clients the right way. Buy a long-term solution for a long-term strategy. Next steps are easy. Check us out, virtualliance.com. Go ahead and book a demo with us. We'll take a deeper dive into the program with you and, see what clients you have are a fit, 50 enrolled or more. And we went over some of the standard risk management requirements. We'll take a deeper dive in the call. And that's it, guys. Thanks for joining us. And buy the right insurance for self-funding, or you're going to get yourself fired or get yourself in trouble. So thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week, same day, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Heads Up Advisor. Be good, guys. Talk soon.